Kate Winslet recently sat on a late-night talk show couch, laughing easily as she was asked about Titanic returning to theaters nearly 2 decades after its original release. Her casual response masked how far her life had traveled since the days when she was known simply as the young actress who played Rose. The journey from that moment to the woman she is now has been shaped by hardship, fierce choices, public scrutiny, and an unwavering commitment to authenticity. Kate Elizabeth Winslet was born on October 5, 1975, in Reading, England, into a family where art mattered far more than money. Her parents were deeply connected to theater, but steady income was rare. Her father, Roger, chased acting jobs while taking manual work when he could, and her mother, Sally, worked long shifts as a nanny and waitress to keep the household afloat. Money was always tight. Rent notices were common, meals were carefully rationed, and help from charitable trusts often stood between the family and real hunger. The flat they lived in was small and crowded, filled with anxiety as much as creativity. Theater was the family's emotional center. Kate's grandparents had once run a repertory theater, but by the time she was born it was barely surviving, sometimes losing electricity or rehearsal space when bills went unpaid. Even so, rehearsals, scripts, and performances filled her childhood. When Kate was still a baby, her father suffered a serious accident that left him unable to work for months. During that time, her mother worked exhausting hours while the family relied almost entirely on food vouchers. The fear of losing their home hung quietly in the background, teaching Kate early on that dreams often come with sacrifice. At school, life was no easier. Kate was bullied for her appearance and cruelly nicknamed, an experience that left her hiding in bathrooms and skipping meals. Yet on stage she felt safe. Drama clubs and school plays gave her a sense of control and belonging that the playground never did. Teachers recognized her talent early, and her parents supported her ambitions even when they could barely afford bus fare to auditions. By the time she was a child, acting had become more than a passion. A television commercial she filmed at age 7 earned enough money to feed the family for weeks. Later roles followed, including television work that drew on her own painful experiences to add emotional depth. At 15, she left school to pursue acting full-time, despite warnings from teachers. She worked relentlessly, often exhausted, babysitting on weekends and enduring constant rejection. When asked to compromise her boundaries early in her career, she refused, choosing instead to protect her values even if it meant losing opportunities. Her breakthrough came at 17 with Heavenly Creatures, a demanding role that required emotional intensity far beyond her years. She immersed herself so deeply that the line between character and self sometimes blurred. The performance stunned critics and announced her as an actress unafraid of darkness. Fame, however, arrived with cruelty. Even before she became widely known, tabloids fixated on her body, teaching her that success did not shield women from judgment. Rather than chasing easy stardom, she chose challenging roles. Sense and Sensibility brought her international recognition and an Academy Award nomination at just 20, but even then she pushed against expectations, advocating for emotional honesty in her character. She began to understand the importance of speaking up, especially when discomfort was framed as necessary for realism. Titanic changed everything. Filming was physically brutal, with freezing water, long hours, and constant pressure. Kate endured illness and exhaustion but refused to give up. When the film became a global phenomenon, the attention was overwhelming. Alongside awards and acclaim came intrusive media coverage, distorted narratives about her health, and even threats. She stepped away from the spotlight to recover, learning that success without balance could be destructive. In the years that followed, she built a career defined by courage. She played women shaped by trauma, desire, guilt, and loss, refusing to soften their edges. Films like Quills, Iris, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Little Children, and The Reader demanded emotional exposure and physical transformation. She gained and lost weight as roles required, endured panic attacks, and sought professional support when scenes pushed her too far. When she finally won her Academy Award, she used the moment to honor her children rather than powerful industry figures, quietly making a statement about integrity. Her personal life unfolded under constant scrutiny. 3 marriages ended, each leaving its mark, but she worked fiercely to shield her children from the chaos of public attention. During painful moments, she chose privacy over spectacle, often retreating from view until the noise faded. As her career matured, so did her influence. She began asserting power behind the camera, challenging sexist decisions, demanding authenticity, and mentoring others. Her work in television further expanded her reach, with performances that required physical endurance and emotional resilience. She immersed herself in research, shadowed professionals, and insisted on realism, even when it made filming harder. Later projects reflected her growing concern for the world beyond film. She spoke out about online harm to children, environmental responsibility, and the pressure placed on women to resist aging. She openly rejected cosmetic procedures, framing wrinkles as evidence of a life lived fully. Her honesty resonated with audiences tired of impossible standards. Eventually, she stepped into directing, financing and shaping a project born from personal collaboration and persistence. It was a natural extension of a career built on refusing to wait for permission. Alongside her creative work, she devoted energy to activism, co-founding a foundation that supports autistic individuals and their families, not as a figurehead but as an active advocate. Now, with decades of work behind her, Kate Winslet stands as something rare in Hollywood, an artist who survived fame without losing herself. Her story is not one of effortless transformation but of continuous resistance against being reduced, reshaped, or silenced. From a childhood marked by scarcity to a career defined by choice, she has shown that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the decision to keep going with honesty intact.